call the council meeting of August 23rd, Township of Lopatcong to order. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. I'd ask everyone to bow their heads for a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Beth.
Yes, Councilman Valcaro.
Here.
Councilman Polito.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Here.
Council President Pryor.
Here. Here. Do we have any public comment on agenda items only at this time? Seeing none. Move on to old business. Number 1 is ordinance number 18-11, second reading and public hearing, a bond ordinance in the amount of $1.2 million for various road improvements.
I did make a suggestion that Kim come tonight. We had talked, we want to know the impact on our financing. Kim's prepared a little analysis. Might be helpful if she would go over that before we introduce the resolution.
Now, our net debt percentage, because you know, limit's 3.5%, is 1.056 after passing this ordinance. Yes, so we had this year the appeals, the tax appeals. We had the equipment, $322,000, and this specific to all the roads projects that we discussed prior. And then we're anticipating probably about another $1 million for next year. So our percentage is 1.056%, which our limit is 3.5%, which means that we have approximately $21 million in borrowing power. So we're very low with the debt. We will have to go out for bans eventually, hopefully not this year. And we're hoping in the 2019 budget that we can use some of the, maybe the roll-off money that we're receiving and or additional monies from surplus to help, you know, start paying down more of this debt. Now, the one tax appeal will be dropping off in 2019. We still have the one beginning in 2019 for 5 years.
That was the 700 and some odd thousand?
Yes. Yes.
Is that the one that we're dropping off?
No, the older one from the other tax appeals will be dropping off, and then the new one will be starting.
The new one.
I think it's about 160, 170,000 a year. It's going to be over 5 years. And I'd like to, you know, be in a more consistent plan with replacement of vehicles and such, and like we're starting on the roads. You really want to have that consistency, and you don't want to spike or, you know, drop below. You want consistency.
I'm of the opinion that there cannot be a year that we don't do roads. Not one. Maybe less, obviously some years, but I think we're to that point.
Every year the roads are getting worse.
Every year the roads are getting worse. They're not going to get any better. We've got some big ones we want to knock off, and then you got to consider that your section of Country Hills is now over 20 years old. So, you know, that...
And you have 180,000 in grant money. So all we need to do is just try to maximize that with any other ordinances in the future.
And Paul feels pretty confident that we can get some grant money to possibly finish up Red School Lane. So...
Kim, if I'm interpreting this correctly, you have additional capital improvements built into this as we go forward?
Yes, we do. I just estimated it to be about $1 million.
Yeah.
And, you know, it could be plus or minus depending on grant money.
So your projection anticipates an ongoing capital improvement program, whether it's roads, equipment, combination thereof?
Correct. I mean, I'd really like to get to the point that we could just fund it through a capital ordinance as opposed to going out for bonding. That's where you would really want to go.
Yeah, the other thing, I guess the column in the middle, somewhere around the 8th, grand total of all debt service, that actually shows that we pay off some debt service every year.
Yes.
We take on more debt service. So if I'm interpreting that correctly, our total debt remains pretty stable throughout your projection period.
Correct. And if we want to add, more to that.
Yeah.
For next year's budget, because we're looking, revenues and everything we're either on target or above what we're
Good.
projected.
Yeah, you don't want to jinx that, I think.
No, exactly, I don't want to jinx that at all.
So
And I guess the other thing you talked about, getting off the bond anticipation notes going to capital bond. So it wouldn't be a very big issue though, would it?
No, and you really, when you go out for something like that, because the costs could be upwards of $100,000, you want to make sure it's worth it. And right now, with your bands, it's really
The bands
not
seem
at the
to-
point
yeah.
that, you should look at an issue right.
Yeah, so in your opinion, as CFO, we're within the bounds of reasonable prudence authorizing this issue, and again, we're not spending it yet, we're just authorizing it,
Correct.
and
And I did, put a little cushion in there, because sometimes when we get the estimates, they may be a little higher depending the timing of it. So hopefully, we won't need that little cushion in there.
thank you, Kim.
I think we need a motion to open up the public hearing.
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Folks, questions, comments? Seeing none, motion to close.
Second.
Motion to pass.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Roll call.
Roll call vote. Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Menounos?
Yes. Number 2 is ordinance number 18-12, second reading and public hearing to approve application for long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement for a tax exemption for an urban renewal project for property known as Block 101, Lots 1 and 1.01. Folks, questions, comments?
Before we have the hearing, I guess, the gentleman from Bridge are in the back. You fellas want to come up and help me out with this? Rich, you want to talk, or I can if you want to introduce the subject here?
Sure, Council President, I'm happy to talk. The subject itself is the ordinance implementing the financial agreement, commonly known as a pilot program. By law, it has to be done by ordinance. I believe the township has extensively discussed this internally and also with Bridge Development Corporation and its predecessor entitled Opus Investments. You want me to explain the pilot?
I can, yeah, I'll go through the negotiations
Okay.
for the benefit of the public, and you can just walk through the pilot. And
Sure. So, in its simple sense, a pilot is a payment in lieu of taxes. So typically,
Close the door, it's an open meeting.
real property is taxed on both the value of the land as well as the improvements. So you get assessed value, and then you apply the tax rate to it, and you find out how much they owe in taxes. What the pilot program does is exempts the improvements that are placed on the real property from the traditional methods of taxation. So the property owner of the pilot is granted to that property owner, pays real taxes, land taxes only, and then you have your traditional split between the county, the school, and the municipality. And then the improvements themselves are exempt from the traditional taxation methods, and they're taxed I'll say taxed in quotes. They make payments to the municipality based upon an agreed upon amount by between the entity and the municipality, subject to the statutory floor. Those payments, 95% by law go to the municipality, 5% go to the county, none go to the school. The municipality is, of course, free to do what it chooses within the confines of the law with the 95% of the revenue that it derives. So when you have a project that is granted a pilot, the benefit to the property owner is that they're not paying as much in overall taxes as they ordinarily would be paying if it was taxed traditionally. The question is, well, then why would you do that? What's the benefit to the municipality? The benefit to the municipality is that the municipality is generating, even though it's not collecting as much, is receiving more because they're receiving 95% of those revenues on the improvements as opposed to kicking off their portion to the school and then whatever portion goes to the county. I don't know what LopatCong's breakdown is off the top of my head, but it's certainly not 95% of the revenue that you would normally receive. So that's the benefit to the municipality, that's the benefit to the developer, it's an incentive to the developer to come in and build where otherwise ordinarily might be economically not feasible because of the tax rate that would be applied to it. So it's designed to encourage development and also encourage a municipality to extend that benefit to the developer. You oftentimes have pushback on pilot programs because you hear the term corporate entitlement or corporate subsidy. The school children are not getting their fair share because the municipality, the developer is not paying what it ordinarily would pay. The monies that ordinarily would go to a school district are not going there. And you see that conversation occur often in the case of residential development, which also are entitled to the benefits of a pilot program if the area is in a redevelopment area, which this one is, as well as all areas need to be. This project is not a residential development, it is industrial, so it kind of eliminates and removes at least somewhat the conversation regarding what about the school kids? Because the projects that are being proposed to be developed are not going to generate in and of themselves school children coming into the school system because they're not building residential units, they're building warehouses. And the people presumably who would move in would be living in areas where they would have to pay taxes normally, whether through the landlord if they're renting or fee simple ownership if they own their own homes. More?
No, I'll go over the economics real quick. We had, of course, negotiate a pilot. As Rich said, why do you have a pilot? Well, you have a piece of property that's either unutilized or underutilized. I guess Ingersoll Rand comprised both. A portion of the site was never really utilized. Another portion had pollution issues and so on, had been underutilized for a long time. The pilot is, in all cases, an incentive for somebody to develop it. In many cases, it's essential for somebody to develop it. The pilot has a lot of moving parts before you finally get to it. We engaged a consultant, Todd Poole. He's an economist. He does a lot of this. We use him in two ways. One, he looked at the feasibility of the project, and he reviewed construction costs, cap rates, everything that a real estate guy would look at in coming up whether a project's feasible. He looked at competition in the area. They were all receiving abatements. And he confirmed that a pilot was appropriate here. It was essential to do this type of project, and he, through calculations, he brought us into a range of what the applicant had to get in rent to make this thing go, so he got us in the ballpark. Then we sat down and started negotiating the pilot itself, and we started out with the original entity, never really got very far. We're miles apart. I guess Bridge took over January 1 of this year. And I think February we got the first offer, and we've been negotiating since then. We won a number of things in the negotiations, and we arrived at essentially a final schedule of payments over the 30 years. We will be pledging roughly $42,000 in debt service as our contribution to this project. But the agreement was we would be compensated for that, and that was really about midway through the negotiations. They agreed to that. We got the initial rate bumped up, and I think at the end, the 30-year schedule looked pretty good. The applicant was looking for, I'll call it a discount in the first 3 years. That was the bulk of the infrastructure. He was looking for help. We were looking for help too. We're not really in the best financial shape. We had things we wanted to do. So our very last session, which was probably, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, we agreed on a figure for the first 3 years that netted us, in round numbers, like another $90,000 for the first 3 years. So his payments accelerate over the first 3 years. They hit $634,000 in year 4, and they escalate about 2% after that. Now, the last question was, how do we get compensated for this $42,000? And I guess the mechanics of that we were talking about, and I'm going to rely on the lawyers here. They have pledged money and unpledged money and so on. They added that on top of everything. So the final schedule comes out that we start with about $567,000 in year 1 to the town, and it rises to over $1.1 million at the end of 30 years. At the end of 30 years, the agreement's over. Now, unfortunately, we don't get to keep all of that. 5% share goes to the county. So right off the top, they get 5% of that pilot. The applicant, the pilot is only on the improvements. He pays the full tax on the land. And then on the pilot, he gets credit for that. And please jump up if I'm saying this wrong. So that gets subtracted out of the pilot. In this case, our current estimate is about $76,000, and that'll change as the tax rates change. Out of that comes our $42,000 in debt service. So we net out there somewhere around $420. The numbers aren't precise. There's some things that have to be, depend on final tax rates yet. Then we get some money back. We get our share of the land tax, and we're allowed an administrative fee. We get a little over 10 grand a year, 10 to 12 grand a year. I don't know what the final figure is yet to administer this thing. So we're going to wind up, somewhere's 430, 440, something like that, which is above what we would collect in municipal taxes. So it works out that the township would actually, under this deal, get more for the municipal budget than they would get under normal taxes. County still gets a share. Unfortunately for the school board, they only get their share, roughly 55% of the taxes on the land. There's no provision for the school board in the pilot. So that's where we are. Yep. And that was our last meeting. I think the mayor and I met our targets in this.
I was comfortable
Yeah.
with where we were at. So.
If I may just add one or two quick points. The entity itself, just so the public knows, is a limited dividend entity. So you'll see urban renewal entity is in that, and so it's not as if it's a regular C Corp or an LLC or whatever, where they can have unlimited distribution of the profits they make. So it's a limited dividend entity for the duration of the project until they reach completion and final termination of the long-term tax exemption, which is 30 years or 35 years from the date of execution of the agreement. The second thing that everyone needs to be aware of is the only entity that can derive the benefits of the long-term tax exemption is an urban renewal entity, a limited dividend entity. So going forward, if I guess Premier now or Bridge, you still Bridge?
Where's our contract?
Okay, Bridge. If Bridge is, those fee, I have no idea what you're going to do back on, but if there's fee simple lots that they're going to sell off, those entities need to also comply in order to derive the benefits of the long-term tax exemption, also be a limited dividend entity. So there's checks and balances, and then every year there's a report that needs to be done. They submit an audit of the records, so everyone township sees the monies that were taken in on the private sector side. So you check that against what was handed over to the municipality.
Now, there's benefits beyond the pilot. During the planning board stage, there's testimony giving on a number of jobs and things like that. It's going to be a big job magnet for the area. So the financial deal is embodied in an agreement, and that's what we're voting on tonight.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Need a motion to open up the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Folks, questions, comments?
So, is that pilot thing last the whole 30 years?
Right.
Yes.
And just the school's not getting like as much taxes as it could, I guess, under.
They'll be getting their normal share just of the land. The improvement, they get none of that. That gets split between the county. County gets 5% of that. We get the rest, subject to those deductions we talked about.
You said jobs, how many jobs?
I don't have those figures with me.
Because we have Amazon at one point, this and that at one point.
What's 3.8 million in round numbers square feet of,
Yeah, so the overall, project, this on record, the overall project, we
That's on
purchased.
plug, sir.
No, it's plug.
No, it's on camera plug.
Oh.
maybe, in this one.
Oh, sure. Thanks.
Okay. The overall project is about 380 acres, includes, so we bought the entire Old Ingersoll Rent facility. So altogether, we're going to build about 3.8 million square feet across the entire project. The particular portion in Lopatcong, that building will be 975,000 square feet. And the best example I could use as far as jobs is we built a building in Perth Amboy in a very similar situation, utilizing a pilot program, and finished it actually last year, about 718,000 square feet. And we were fortunate to be able to land Target, the retailer, on a long-term lease. And their projections, they
It
just,
was kind of built up, where at, for example?
the old American Smelting and Refining
Down
Company,
that way.
the old Sarco site at the foot of the outer bridge.
Okay.
It is contaminated beyond, much more than this site, actually. This is pretty pristine, all things considered. Target is their, pardon the pun, Target's target on employment is somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 jobs in that one building. So we're estimating that's what that'll be, in addition to the hundreds of construction jobs, obviously, to do that. And this is our first building on our plan, and based on our approvals that we received through planning board, matter of fact, on Monday, I'm meeting with the final two dirt contractors. It's a $45 million dirt moving operation, so this is why we need kind of the assistance early on these, because you have to put roads and infrastructure in well before buildings go up. And we're gonna let the contracts go, and we expect to be having bulldozers moving dirt actually, no later than mid-September. So we're pretty excited about the opportunity. It's been a long time. I'm a Jersey guy, I've been around the site for a long time, I know it well. And it's about time something really productive happened here.
I have one more question for Rich. I guess there's some language to clean up and so on yet?
The financial agreement, yes, Mike Cacavelli sent over earlier today, we're going to review that. So the authorization for the execution of the financial agreement will be subject to final legal review and approval.
And when you tell us he can sign it,
Yes.
that's when I'll sign it.
Yep, yes, sir.
Folks, anybody else? Motion to close the public?
Motion.
Motion to pass?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Belcarro,
This is the beginning of a great opportunity to come here to Lopat. Yes.
Councilman Polito,
Yes.
Councilman Wright,
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
Yes.
Chairman Booth.
Yes. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
From what I see and what I hear, you appear to be the real deal, so.
And we are, and October 10th, we're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony, so I will be in touch.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Guys, thank you.
October 10th.
3 years from now, overall, so it's a big project.
Yeah.
Well, that first, right?
Was the first one in, that's what I said. Absolutely good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, number 3, approve mayor to execute financial agreement contract with Bridge Development upon township attorney's final approval.
Well, okay, we had the ordinance first.
Yes.
Now we're walking, okay. I'll make that motion.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
Yes.
Chairman Booth.
Yes. Number 4, approve fireworks contract.
You need me?
Yeah, I think you need to explain what's going on.
Okay, so, we have the contract. We asked for a contract for the fireworks. I looked at it, we asked for $4,000. And I know Council President Pryor had asked that this be paid completely in donations. So, went through, and I had discussed some things the other night with him as well, with some of the extra money that I had left over from last year. Going through the numbers today, I actually had Phyllis pull this off, and I had a very pleasant surprise. I did not know about 700 other dollars that came in. So, to do the math really quick, I had $700 that I didn't know about, $350 from ShopRite, $250 from Nisavacia, $1,000 in total from Mazer, $100 from Florio Perucci, $250 from Genesis that's coming in, $500 that Laborie is supposed to be giving me. I did Nisavacia. And then there's $200 that I brought in from Memorial Day, from selling things. Plus there's $300 that, 100 from Matt, 100 from myself, 100 from Joe. That brought me to $36.50. So we could do one of two things. You could not have fireworks. You could take into account the money I had left over, and Joe had some qualms about that, so I went back, and last year I was budgeted $15,000. I spent $15,751.61. I brought in $2,075 for donations. We only paid for $1,500 of fireworks because LAA paid the rest. If you subtract the $1,500 from the $2,075, that would have left us at $575. Of course, we don't have a trust account yet. So that's, it doesn't really carry over, but it does kind of exist. Or, so you could go there. Or, since there's 5 of you and only 1 of you donated, you can make up the other $350.
I like that.
I'll give you 2.
Okay,
I'll give you 1.
all right.
I'll give you one.
So there we got, that's 400, so we're good.
Let me be spot. Through Herculean efforts, you got there. And
Yeah.
you're congratulated. The reason I'm so stubborn about this, the township has never paid for fireworks. People think we have not. It's always been donated. I ran on a campaign of wants versus needs, and I'm serious about that. 2 years we did not have fireworks. We couldn't afford it. We didn't raise the money. It wasn't the end of the world. I have no problem with fireworks, but I can't charge taxpayers for them. That's just my philosophy. We raised money last year. I thank everybody for this last minute generosity. I always thank you for your effort. I know everything else is planned, and it's going to be a terrific, if the weather cooperates, it's going to be a terrific.
Should be, hopefully.
Day.
Looks like it's gonna.
Unless it just decides to rain.
So I assume you're looking for it because you have to run the money through us, and we have to issue a
Yeah, you have to sign the contract.
contract.
Jim, you'll have to sign the contract.
Yeah, I printed it out, I brought it with me, so we're good.
So,
And then they'll have to be notified tomorrow that they have to get in touch with Kevin McGuire.
Right.
And they owe him a lot of documentation.
I have their insurance and everything, I printed off the permit that I can fill out, and I think there might just be like a diagram, that should be it that's left.
So, I want to be able to look at the taxpayers and say, taxpayers, you did not pay for this. I feel I can say that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, we did. Pay taxes.
And now I'll turn to leave, I'll actually make the motion to approve the contract based on.
Can I have a second?
Tonight.
Second.
Thank you.
Roll call, Beth.
Yes. Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Moshe?
Yes.
Now, I have a quick question, since I'm still up here. Are you going, I know you're going to executive, and then you're going to have audience participation, because I do have to go over some other bills because some things we talked about, I was able to add on, because we found out we had more money in the budget than I was running off the old number, so.
Yes, we'll come back out.
You're going to come back out? Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, we have.
Anybody have anything they want to pull out of the consent agenda, which I would doubt, but seeing none, can I have a motion to pass the consent agenda?
Move to pass the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Manducci?
Yes. All right, we have a need to have an executive session, so.
Just, you know,
Did you
like walking on
want
something.
Brian to stay for the
Yeah,
LAA?
I do.
You need me?
Did you
No, we won't need you for anything.
Have a good night.
did you do the consent agenda?
Yeah, you just did.
Yes.
I wanted to take my wife to get a bite to eat she didn't eat, so I'll stay here for the boat, and then can I cut out?
We're done.
Oh, we're done.
Well,
We're done.
Done.
okay.
We won vote.
Well, we have one vote. I think Lori had something else too.
Oh, God.
We just need a motion authorizing the execution of the interlocal.
Motion to come out of it, so.
Motion.
That's it.
I'll make that motion.
Everybody else out there?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
They just gotta.
Roll call.
I don't know if they're coming in.
Motion to
Motion,
come out.
yeah, we've already had it.
Valcarro and Pryor,
Yep.
so all in
Yep.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, we need to,
Motion.
yeah, we need a motion to authorize an interlocal
He's in
agreement
the bathroom.
between the police department and the school board.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Manducci?
Yes.
And it's subject to,
Attorney
To
review.
review and then insurance requirements.
Audience participation, folks?
Okay, I'll go first. 'Cause I'll-
What are we talking about?
All right, this is for Community Day. Just to let you know, we had a meeting the other day, and we went over some of the budget and some of the things we were trying to do. We do have extra money, because you guys gave me $8,000 this year for Community Day instead of 5. We did well on Music in the Park. We're still doing good there. We still have our grant money to come in. We were a little over at movies at the pool, and I actually have to figure out what to do, because we have to reschedule last night's, and it's already a reschedule, so I have to see if we should actually reschedule that, or maybe just send it back, because it's getting late.
Personally, I don't care.
Yeah, and what we were thinking of doing instead is maybe, because there was already extra money in there, and we were thinking of doing like Casablanca or something, but then we thought maybe we could, in the fall, have a movie inside the school for the kids, because if we wanted to, like, show it then, because we probably get better
We'll have to send
participation.
it back then.
Yeah, so we'll send it back and then maybe pick something like Halloween themed, like Hocus Pocus or something like that, and see if there, so we were gonna check with the PTA on that.
It's real long.
Yeah. So then what we did is, one of my bills didn't get to Jenny, I don't know, because I had to put one of my emails in Outlook, and it's giving me trouble. The Miss New Jersey Foundation, that's for $400. We decided, because we had extra money, we got another ride. So we're gonna have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rides this time. And I actually had to go with somebody different, because Harmony also uses the vendor that we use, and like, as you might know, yeah, they switched to our date. So they had already reserved them, so they went with them. So, but we're spending not much more and actually getting more, so we'll see how it goes. They've been very good. So for an extra $490, we got another generator and a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse combo for the little ones. And then the juggler's gonna come, he's $250. Angie Baldwin is singing, we're giving her $200. I think Kayla, we're gonna give up to $200. Kayla Avatable. She's gonna open it up. She's very good. She's from high school. She's from Lopat originally. She sung at the 150th, and now she's like a songwriter too. And then Jesse Rivera did agree, because we were trying to get the Caribbean Steel Band back, since the weather that night was kind of crummy for them. But it's hard for them to get together on the last minute, so we're going to try to definitely bring them back next year. But Jesse said he'll close out the day for us. So those, I'm just going to submit them to Jenny if you just want to. Jesse was 300, so I don't know if you want to approve him now or at September, but I'm going to send them all into her. And then I think we're good, and we're still under budget with Community Day, so.
And just one thing real quick, for next year, just an idea I'm throwing out there. I wanted to have like a band festival kind of thing. Get 4 bands, some top-end bands up there, bring a classic car show back, maybe a few things for the kids, and that's it, fireworks at the end. I think it would generate, and we have to do a much better job of like advertising.
Yeah.
We need to get out there with it. So.
What are you talking about, in lieu of Community Day or?
No, well, I'm talking about that would be our community, like a band festival kind of thing, and maybe, yeah, if you want to, in lieu of community
We
day.
have a beer truck there?
Well, we're waiting to hear.
I heard from them that they received the application.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully she tells me you're approved tomorrow.
Okay. We applied as a township as we had in the past, and now that's not okay.
Nobody really does a band fest kind of thing. You've got the Pork Roll Palooza, you've got
Right.
Garlic Fest and all that other stuff, but nobody really does anything with bands. So, you run the risk of obviously the weather, but I think it may be something we'll just
Yeah,
kind of take a look at.
My observation, I've been to a few community days. And
They're all the same.
There's not much there, but last year, with all the free rides.
With the
for
rides.
kids,
The rides.
Yes.
It brought the kids out, and the kids all had a great time, and while the kids are having a great time, the parents can't leave.
Yeah.
I would go.
So that's
for
why we
for
have beer.
10 minutes and,
They're stuck.
They're stuck.
but watching all the kids.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
So that's what the vendors help out with that, and if we can get the beer, because we had been having beer for like 3 years, and then last year, the group that was supposed to do it wasn't able to get it together, so
Quite frankly, I think we need to move it back to June, the weekend before everybody graduates.
you could do that. I mean, it's one of the reasons we moved it, like I said, was because of dance recitals. So you definitely move it back to June, as long as you would just have to start the fundraising probably in January.
The only problem with June is the fireworks aren't going off till at least 9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of the other things too, if you want to take it away from the summer, the PTA once had a fall festival, and that was actually really nice. I mean, then we don't have to worry about the pool. Because we started doing it, we kept it in the pool window because we wanted to boost up the pool at that point in time, it was with the economic downturn. So we moved it there, the pool's free for the day and that kind of thing, generate interest. But, with the rides, and if you have bands, and if you have fireworks, the fall is nice because then you can do the pumpkin stuff.
We have Brian build a stage underneath the press box after he gets done lining the field.
Spare time.
Yeah, spare time.
Before I forget, the mayor had mentioned it to me, and I tend to agree with this. It bothers me that the music part competes with the planning board and the council.
Yeah, You can move it to, like, I know you're talking about Thursday. Phillipsburg has theirs on Thursday, but we usually don't have the same bands. We could do Tuesday.
Tuesday nights is usually pretty open.
Yeah, we can do that too, Tuesday or Thursday. My only reason for Thursday was people tend to on a Thursday night want to go out more because they got one more day of work. So.
No,
People tend to go out a little more.
But sometimes Thursdays we have special meetings like tonight.
Well, we can have them on a Tuesday then.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, anyway, we can work that out.
Yeah,
Just-
so things like that.
Competing
Can we
against
approve
probably the
her
two
bills
biggest.
that-
Yeah, if you could just approve those.
What do we need? Motion to approve her bills?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Second.
thank you.
all in favor.
And we could talk, probably like once we get through Community Day and get into the fall, because if you do want to go earlier, we definitely, and if you want to keep doing fireworks, we should start and have like maybe meet even just a subcommittee of you guys to figure out how to best raise money,
If
and
we go with
then
that band fest idea, we need to start.
you need more money
Well, that's first and foremost. We need to start like right after this.
right after this,
Can't wait till January.
yeah.
We
No.
need to line it up now, so.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to figure out the budget for that. We were also talking about possibly next year getting a little refrigerator freezer for the pavilion that we could lock, so we could start selling stuff. Because otherwise, if you leave stuff in that refrigerator, whoever rents the pavilion
But
eats and drinks it.
Back to June, I agree with Jim, especially the last week of
Yeah.
people go on vacation. Like I can't make.
Yeah.
And there's football practice and all that other stuff. I think we need to jump the gun before everybody gets out of school and really gets into their summer mode.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do it then.
One year Community Day was in June, it was cold.
I know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
they-
Wasn't it saying June or October?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody's home in October. Beautiful month,
Oh,
yeah.
you're good?
I'm good, yeah.
Tom, do you want to say something?
I don't know my issue, I guess.
We do know your issue, and I think, did you
You want me to stand or remember?
take care of it today?
Yeah, well, we took care of what we could.
Okay.
I think the Glory did explain everything else, so. All right,
Yeah.
so you might have something further to say then?
Yeah, well,
That's fine.
Can you stand at the podium?
Sure.
what did you guys take care of? How much so far? Because I know this letter's telling me.
It was like 57.
Or it wasn't.
Yeah, we
57 and
sent, yeah, we credited you for like 56 or 57 and change of the payments that you brought your receipts in that we could prove. and then we canceled interest of $577.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the plan for the ones I don't have receipts for, but I got another letter from a mortgage company. I got one of these last year, the year before, and Rachel, and you guys have copies of it, whoever's handling this. Rachel sent my mortgage company the printout, and the printout shows that I'm paid up for, I think it was 2016.
Okay.
And then when you go back, she went in there and delete, whatever reason, half deleted the second quarter of the 2016. So that was a $9,000 check that came here and she sent back. This time, $14,378 came here, and I don't know what's happening with that and when is that going back, because I'm in escrow right now and they're looking for this money. So that needs to be handled. I was in here a couple times already. I sent something to Katrina, never heard back. I don't know if she's the right person to be talking to about it or not.
See, what happened was...
It's $14,000.
So Tony could only bring in so many receipts. And, we've seen him come in and pay his money all the time. And so anyway, for the receipts that he did give us, we could credit his account. And we could credit some of that interest. Then this mortgage company sends in like
10 checks. 10 checks, because they break it down and...
It got applied to his account. His account's looking swell, but now it's a double pay because he did pay once and it's not there.
Let me ask you this, just because I'll forget. So my account looking great. Now I do have the newest receipts from, I think it was like whatever, February and last quarter. So what about those credits? Is that going towards this money?
I don't know because I wasn't working on it, so you can stop back in on Tuesday and sit down with Danielle and go over all that if you'd like.
You just want, you want some sort of resolution to this, like now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm without township problem.
You're
I
gonna
got like
find
3
it.
other issues came up, and none of them are my fault, and I'm busy, and just, I need this $14,000 issue cleared up, because I'm not $14,000 to be just throwing around.
You're the ones that have to decide whether or not you're going to allow an affidavit of, the proof that he paid, you know what I mean, to allow him to sign an affidavit. That's the only way. If he can't produce his receipts.
In my eyes, why should I have to reprove my receipts when there's other quarters that we actually have receipts in the receipt book that says I'm paid for that quarter?
Right.
So she didn't say that I'm paid
I
for
get
the
it,
back
I
quarter.
get it. And I, just sitting here, I mean, to me, that's enough.
That isn't, and there should be no interest in my mind
It's
whatsoever.
the worst case we have on record, right?
And then the printout
ridiculous.
of me being paid up, and then you go back into the new one and boop, 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 delete it.
That note is in the system.
We have no
too.
idea
It
why it was
says we
deleted,
sent money
obviously.
back today.
All that paperwork you guys have, the township has. So this has been really frustrating. I apologized to Beth the other day because I get upset about the whole situation.
So what can we do to get this squared away, Beth?
What?
What can we do to get this squared away? This is ridiculous.
You know what?
It is. It's embarrassing, that's what it is.
David, and he signs to it that he paid his money. And, so then we can clear it up and send all that extra money.
Tony could be happy.
And then you do a resolution to credit.
Yeah, we would do a resolution at the September meeting.
Well, I would recommend us doing that, because this is embarrassing.
Well, certainly, anything off the system where it shows he was paid and then it
Yeah.
was changed with whiteout or something, I mean, to me, that's the same
just
as...
Well, still, we send back this stuff.
Yeah, there's a note on the system that says that we sent back
So
the
obviously-
check.
She put the note on
She
there.
put the note on there.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to
That's,
see it.
that's, to me, as good as it can be. So then you down 1 or 2 things, and you look at the payment history, you take an affidavit,
That's
you
it.
clear the account up.
Done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
Thank you, who's ever saying.
Well, no, listen, we're here to work with everybody. I
Yeah.
certainly didn't bargain for this for my first 8 months.
Oh, I know.
And neither did any of these guys, and they recognized that there was a problem last year. It was caught internally, so, but people are getting antsy, and we're talking about people's homes and their credit ratings and all that other stuff.
So,
Yeah.
trust me when I tell you, I get it, in the process. I mean, Beth, what's up with this? Beth, what's up with that? Almost daily.
Extra headache in township, don't need it. I have one suggestion.
Yes.
Because I was learning the other day that the township notifies these mortgage companies that this is happening, like that people are delinquent under tax payments.
I don't think the mortgage company
No, we don't do that. We don't do that. The software company has the file and it gets released,
Yeah,
you
by
know,
law.
just before tax time.
Yeah.
So they know what to write out in checks, you know what I mean, what everybody owes. So it's an auto thing.
Yeah.
We don't push the button.
We tried to stop it,
And you know, and it's so huge that we can't go into, you know, we can't go into that system and pull it and
Yeah, and
pull
just
stuff.
from
Because
our-
we don't control it.
We have the
I thought it was something that the
forensic
No, we
auditors
did
coming in.
not do that.
something like that.
We don't affect anybody's credit rating or.
Do we hear anything from them today at all, forensic auditors?
No.
So they want their money before they come in, it's just, we just went over.
I called them because I was worried, because we started getting these checks in, and I asked, can we flag the account so you can't see it from the outside? And he said that's not what's going on by state law. Everybody's file gets sent to every mortgage company that does business in New Jersey, so they can see where their accounts stand and keep them up to date.
They make it their business, you
Yeah,
know. to
yeah.
manage
They're gonna
their
come
money.
through again
Their
in November.
investment, right?
November?
In November, they're gonna come through again.
What happens if you don't have a mortgage?
Then you're okay, because you're not gonna go on escrow. It's only only those that are mortgage.
Okay, then I guess.
So what can I expect, if anything?
So the affidavit, we'll have to have that drawn up. You'll have to come in and sign it. And then a resolution will have to be prepared for the September 5th meeting.
Can we get all that done between now and then?
Beautiful.
I guess $5 a month.
Please do it.
I could do it. All right, thank you, guys.
Better written than mine.
All right, anybody else? Seeing none, hearing none, motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you.